Good afternoon mga katribu and welcome to another episode of Kalingang Katribu Usapang Business. I am Komfie Manalo and I will be your host for today. And today we will be talking about blockchain because blockchain has been getting a lot of traction in the Philippines. Not only the Philippines, of course, but also in the ASEAN region. In fact, during the recently concluded Philippine Blockchain Week, there were lots of discussions among the panelists there that the Philippines will be the next hub of blockchain in the ASEAN region. So to know more about that perception, if the Philippines really is ready to be the blockchain center of the ASEAN region, we will be having Mr. Frederick Fung, the head of adoption of TZ Apac. So thank you very much, Mr. Frederick Fung, and thank you very much for allotting your time for us today for this interview.
Thank you very much for that. It's a great honor to join this.
Okay, sir. So first question, can you tell us about what is TZ Apac's egg incubation program or EGG egg incubation program, and can you give us an overview of this egg incubation program?
Sure. So over here at the TZ Apac, we are the adoption entity for the Tesla's blockchain. And what we did is that we put together an incubation program where we highly encourage a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs who actually want to build on top of our blockchain. And we kind of want to bring that Silicon Valley mindset, right? The startup mindset, the startup culture to them. So we break it down into very, very simple things for them to follow through. The first thing is they go into a workshop phase where essentially our internal team will teach them through our expertise on how to build a startup, and then after that all the crucial skills that they need. And then after that, in order to stay relevant in this scene, because it's ever so changing so quickly, we actually have masterclasses. And we get industry experts, that actually come in and actually teach them, give a masterclass and a little bit of homework. It's very interactive. So they are able to think in the Web3, the blockchain approach on how to build their startup to become the next unicorn. And the last one is that we have pitching clinics, right? Because the startups are going to need to pitch to the investors. Mm-hmm. And we put together a panel of investors. We put them in front of them. We just completed one earlier this month. And essentially, we have attained a lot of interest in it because a lot of people, they're looking to invest in the space. But at the same time, what we're looking to do is to create the best startups so that we're able to build them up and make sure we push them through. And afterwards, those that are also very, very interesting towards us, we are also start to give them a small grant and incentive to continue building on top. We provide, not only marketing support, PR support, we also give a lot of strategic and tactical support, like even technical support. We have a dev team that is ready to help at any time. We have partnerships that direct them to the right resources to say that, hey, if you're going to need to build on a specific architecture, let's say even if it's building on top of the server, these are the partners that you're looking for. We have a partnership with them. Go to those resources and they're able to build.
So there are three aspects of this process of this egg incubation program. First, of course, the seminar, and then the master classes, and then the pitching. So, is there a particular, or are there particular projects that the investors are looking for when the startups pitch their projects to them?
Oh yeah, for sure. Right now, the theme is always changing. Next year, what we're looking at is, something called phygital experience, right? Mm-hmm. Physical and digital. How you're able to combine the digital aspect to it and then and the physical experience of it together. So we've been experimenting with this and also encourage a lot of startups to try and look at it. There's also, a lot of traditional, fintech, or not say traditional fintech, but essentially is that financial companies who are looking to also come into the blockchain and utilize the blockchain to make it a much more seamless process. These are something that everyone is looking for as well.
So you said you just finished a pitching session last month. Where did you held that pitching session, and do you have any plan of, or do you have a scheduled pitching session in the Philippines, and how much did that the startups received or commitment received during that pitching session last month, as far as capital is concerned?
Well, so essentially, what we have been looking at is, first of all, we actually did it in Singapore. So what we did is we actually gave a small incentive
Mm-hmm.
to bring down some of the costs into flying into Singapore, because a lot of the investors are based here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what we're looking to do is to find local VCs as well, to see if we're able to hyper localize this program. But moving forward is that we actually try and invite all of them together. We put them in our office, and then after that, we actually do the demo day together. This pitching things is also very crucial for them, because we introduce our panel of VCs to all of our startups, and for them, it's also a very very fantastic time in order to raise capital. And from that point onwards, the conversation just takes a life of its own, and therefore, right over there, where we are looking at is that they actually, some of them are able to meet their cap table, and others are still in negotiations.
Okay. So, as far as the incubation program is concerned, how will this benefit startups, companies in the Philippines?
Well, essentially, is that startups is a very brutal world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is me being honest, but at the same time, it's a very exciting world.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from a startup builder myself, there are a lot of challenges. One of the things that we found out was that all of the entrepreneurs wish they had a mentor. So when I created the masterclass, the first thing I went to all the successful entrepreneurs who actually came back and contributed was, give me that one lesson you wish you learned, that you when you were starting out on your journey as a startup entrepreneur, right? Because we all have that one story that with us. It's like, oh, I wish I knew this when I first started, and I wanted them to share it, because once this lesson has been learned, it cuts short that learning curve, and make sure that we position them in the best
Mm-hmm.
possible position before the markets get excited again.
Okay, let's talk about the blockchain itself. So,
Mm.
what are the potentials of blockchain in the ASEAN region and globally? And can you give us use cases of blockchain that are relevant to the Philippines and the ASEAN region?
Well, right now there's a lot of very interesting conversation that has been going around worldwide. For us, because we're Tezos, we're actually energy efficient. We have a large artist network, entrepreneur, a lot of brands that we are working together with very closely with, in order to bring that digital aspect into them. So think of it as because it is a distributed ledger technology.
Yeah,
It is blockchain, right?
yeah.
And so we've been finding different use cases to try and fit that in. Blockchain ticketing is a very, very big thing right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that we've been also expanding into. Memberships as well. So we've been talking to, and experimenting with this, is that there are certain private member clubs,
Mm-hmm.
and these private member clubs, they sell memberships, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, memberships are transferable. So why not be transferable on the blockchain as well?
Mm-hmm.
So all of these things are recorded onto the ledger. They're transparent. Everybody knows exactly where everything is.
Yeah, I think one of the best use cases of blockchain in the Philippines are, of course, governance.
Yes.
I can suggest the election, the conduct of the election,
Yeah.
the record keeping of assets or properties, things like that. And of course,
Yeah.
NFT is a big thing right now. So, and it's kind of the similar with what you're proposing, the membership. And I think some of the NFT projects right now are focusing on exclusive participation or exclusive parties, or like this is for the elite people or the select
Yes.
people.
Yes, I'm glad you brought up governance, because I'm also the chairman of an industry association in Singapore, a crypto industry association in Singapore, and we also utilized Tesla's blockchain um, on a solution called Electus, where essentially we conducted our annual general meeting, and after that, the selection of the board. So when I proposed myself to become the chairman, and the voting system, it was actually done on the Tesla's blockchain.
Hmm. So during the recent Philippine Blockchain Week, I think it happened in November, and then there were lots of discussions during that blockchain week that the Philippines is going to be the next hub of blockchain. So, what is the future? In your perspective, what is the future of blockchain in the Philippines and in the region? And why do you consider the Philippines as an important market for TZ APAC?
Yeah, so essentially, what we've evaluated over the past couple of months was that it's going to become a very much growing sector, especially in the Philippines. It has been already been known to become a very big fintech hub as well. And that's why we've been also sending our resources over to the Philippines to, and we have a very good partnership with Draper Startup House, especially in Philippines. But at the same time, it comes at a very long game for us, right? We are committed to start from education because while some people might know what blockchain is, not everybody knows how to build on top of it. And that's why, during the last month one, we also launched workshops in order to spread the word out there, to make sure that everyone's aware on how to build, where the resources are. And then at the same time is that we are motivated to actually cultivate the talent over there in Philippines in order to build this. And it's a big market. I think Philippines has a very big market and a very huge potential for us to expand our presence into.
Yeah, I agree with you that while everybody, well, a majority of the public have heard of blockchain, they really don't know what is. So education is, I think, will play a big part for the adoption and the acceptance of blockchain technology. In fact, when even the jo- supposedly learned people, when they speak of blockchain, they only think of Bitcoin, right? So yeah, I agree with that. Education should play a crucial part in expanding the acceptance of blockchain, not only in the Philippines, of course, but also globally.
Yeah, yeah, and even after education, right? What we did is that we also launched regional hackathons. So we encourage builders in the Philippines who are familiar with our technology or will be familiar after the education to join our hackathons. Just pick a problem statement, and then after that, try out your hand with it and just experiment with the technology. And the reason why is that once you experiment with it and once you see its potential, then you can think of other use cases of how to build on top of it. And then that's where we really come in. And then after that, incubate them, cultivate them, and make sure that we are able to bring even more value into the Philippines and the region.
Okay, so we're talking about blockchain and its potentials and its use cases. So what are the challenges?
We do things right now, which is in a very centralized manner. And blockchain has always been quite the opposite end of the spectrum, which is a more decentralized way of doing things. And so it comes at a mindset shift because now it becomes from you just have to trust someone or a counterparty into a trustless state, right? And so with that, it's that these kind of new technologies, these kind of new boundaries, it has to take its own time for people to accept it. And then after that, that's when once they start understanding it and stop being afraid of it, then after that we are able to go into mass adoption. So one of the things we did in Singapore FinTech Festival was that we said, hey, why don't we just introduce you to a proof of attendance mechanism, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what does this mean? We give you an NFT because you attended an event, and because of the NFT, you get a utility of one free coffee. And so we made it into somewhat of an attraction.
Mm-hmm.
And this brings down that barrier, right? Because at the same time is that there's a lot of different steps you need to do. Now people have to be responsible for their own keys, the private keys, in order to be able to interact with blockchain, and all of these things. We have to slowly educate them, and once they are more educated, then we can move on to the next step. And this is the strategy that we've been going at in order to make sure that there's more and more adoption in the entire region.
So I agree with you, but I think aside from education, the people to fully understand blockchain, I think they have to experience it. And
Yes.
so that in order for them to experience blockchain, it has to have an impact on their lives. So how can blockchain improve or impact the lives of people, and how does blockchain change the way we conduct business?
Well, blockchain has always been the story has always been to remove the middleman, right? And that's what we've been trying to do. We've been trying to make the businesses more efficient. It brings down costs, and once costs are bring down, more value goes back to the users. And this is applied in a variety of manners, right? We have use cases like in remittance, in order to bring down the cost of remittance. This is very big also. And at the same time is that there's a lot of different narratives out there where essentially people are able to benefit of utilizing the blockchain, sometimes through incentivization mechanisms or otherwise. But essentially, where we are going towards is that where we want is to bring the greatest economic value into the countries that they are building into. Because right now it's a hot topic. It's everybody wants to try their hand at it. It's almost as if we're at the start of the .com era, right? And everybody is building towards it. And which is why we are wanting as an adoption entity to make sure that we bring in these expertise so that they can bring in the economic value.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Frederick Fung. Actually, there's a lot of questions I want to ask of you, but of course, we have to take a short break to to digest what we've discussed so far. But before that, Usapang Business will take a short break. So stay tuned, mga katribu.
Welcome ka dito sa SM. Come as you are. Mahilig ka man sa pabago-bago o sa paikot-ikot. Yung nag-a-adulting or parenting. Ikaw na kulot, white-haired, purple-haired, kayong magkaibigan na nagkaibigan. Buong barkada. Yung gusto mo, chill lang. Or gawin yung feel mo lang. We know you're changing. So we're changing with you. Come on in. We're all in. At SM, you're always welcome here.
Josel Dariaga po.
At Maita Basa David.
Ngayong December, 10 pesos and 28 centavos per kilowatt hour ang overall electricity rate. Ito ay dahil sa 33 centavos na increase na mula sa pagtatapos ng isang distribution-related refund ng nakaraang buwan.
Kahit may konting pagtaas, pwedeng di magastos ang Christmas reunions. Hi!
Pwede na tayo magkita-kita. Iba ang saya pagsama-sama. Kaya kailangan galing sa puso.
Kasi ang puso, mas mabubusog sa init ng salo-salo. Pero kahit simple lang, basta safe.
At masigla ang lahat. Siguradong masaya ang Pasko.
Maliwanag na Pasko't bagong taon po sa lahat.
Mula sa Meralco at Department of Energy.
And we're back, and you are still watching Usapang Business. And with us still is Mr. Frederick Fung, the head of adoption of TC Apac. The first time I started writing about blockchain was in 2010 when it was in its infancy. And back then, blockchain was limited to cryptocurrency, particularly Bitcoin. And then later on, it evolved. It evolved immensely. We were discussing at that time. We were discussing about decentralization and how it would impact the financial system, how it would go against the traditional the way we do business. And then the pandemic came, and then there was a massive acceleration of adoption of the blockchain. Even with the let's face it, mga katribu, the world, the financial system, the way we live is changing, has changed. Even while we're talking right now, we just don't know it, but the way we live is being changed and being altered because of this new blockchain technology, the Web3 and its subdivisions or subsectors. Because of the blockchain, because of the Web3, every industry now has to become a financial technology or fintech. Like there's now the digital education, insurance technology, cooperative technology, etc., etc. So now Mr. Fung has guided us earlier on how blockchain has impacted the way we live and how several blockchain use cases has already been tried and tested regionally and globally, and we've been seeing a lot of improvement and development, particularly in financial inclusion. And all these things are brought about by the development of the blockchain technology. So to continue with our interview with Mr. Frederick Fung, sir, do you agree with the projection or assessment of some sector that the Philippines is ready to become a Web3 cusp and the blockchain hub in the region? Why and how?
Oh, of course, I do agree with it. Because quite simply, we are also going to expand our presence into Philippines, right? We've allocated certain resources into it, and it's very interesting because of the sheer amount of talent that actually Philippines has, and it's completely untapped right now. And that's why it is literally quite right for us to go in and to see and to encourage the builders on top of it. Philippines has already been very known as a fintech hub, and be it in the insurtech space or even in the fintech space, or even driving smart cities. These are the kind of use cases that we also would like to see expand also on our blockchain.
So with that projection that there are potentials in smart cities here, insurtech, and etc. Basically, that's the fintech space. So how should the Philippines adopt blockchain technology and take it to the mainstream?
Well, I think it's very simple. The way that I see blockchain has always been when we stop talking about it and it's already happening in the back ends, that's when the adoption is there. The front end UX experience, the user experience, it wouldn't change that much. Why? Is because we still need to continue the same functions that we have. It's just that right now we're just updating from legacy systems into blockchain systems. The key cusp of it all is how are we going to get there? And without the developers actually experimenting with it, without the companies actually building it, and without actually integrating into all the services that we need, that wouldn't happen yet. And this is where we're at. We are encouraging everyone to build on top of it, right? If you have an idea where essentially it's like, hey, I'm able to do direct transfer of value. I was like, okay, let's test it out, right? Of course, the other challenge has always been regulations, right? And regulations are going to have to be updated in order for certain use cases to come true. But let's say even in Singapore, we have already the Payment Services Act where we have license exchanges. And essentially what happens is that once Philippines has worked with its own industry, where we want to is to bring that innovation. We are true believers that regulation should not front run innovation, but we got to bring that innovation forward first because everyone is creative, every entrepreneur has the idea, and we want to build that out and see where it goes.
Yeah, I agree with you that maybe why the public hasn't noticed that the financial system or the way business is conducted now has changed dramatically is because we are still doing the same thing, the traditional way, but on the back end, it has changed a lot. And before, we don't know, what's open finance is, or how API integrating all this into a seamless operations. So yeah, I agree with you that while blockchain technology has offered a lot of potentials and has changed the way we conduct business, the public isn't aware of it because most of the changes or the improvement or the innovations are happening on the back end. So and I'm glad that you agree with the projection that the Philippines has a potential to become a blockchain hub in the region. So what potential does, if I may ask again, you have already answered this earlier, but I just want you to expound on it more. So what potential does the Philippines has or offering to become the future of blockchain and in the Southeast Asia region?
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the key challenges we've always seen time and time again is blockchain talent, developer talent and talent even in this space, right? And what I do admire about the Philippine economy has always been that they're very fast learners, right? They're always willing to pick up new things. And where we've seen is that, because when we conducted a workshop, we had so much high participation, what we try and do is really cultivate this talent. And this talent can not only, and because you see our nature, our industry is highly decentralized. And because of, thanks to COVID, right? Remote work is entirely possible right now. And so, where our sector has always been is that we've been always massively hiring talent all over the world, right? So long as we find that it's a good culture fit, a good skill set fit, we will definitely explore all of that. And this is where I think Philippines has an immense contribution to our industry. Just the sheer amount of talent alone that is willing to learn and it's willing to expand. I think that is a very very good indicator already.
Yeah, another areas of innovation that blockchain is offering is, of course, the metaverse. There's been a lot of
Mm.
discussion. There's been a lot of noise about metaverse, about being the future. So, my question is metaverse really the future of many enterprises? Like even in the media, we're conducting our interview now. Traditionally,
Yeah,
is
I,
is,
I,
is
I think
metaverse also the future of how the media is conducted?
I think it will become a much more interesting thing when, especially the hardware and the software starts keeping up with each other.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have one of the Oculus right here inside my room right now in front of me, and I've been experimenting with it many, many times. Um, the way I see metaverse has always been that it's a good augmentation of how we experience meetings with each other, right? It could also be like what we've seen a real estate firm wanting to provide a virtual experience
Mm-hmm.
into a showroom that they are trying to build up. And I think it will become a very good one of the feature, but it's like an expansion into it so that it provides a holistic experience.
Mm-hmm.
So then this metaverse will take even more shape of its own,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think there are a lot of people who are experimenting with it. We are seeing a lot of different use cases with it. And essentially is that you could compare this with even games, right? There's a
Yeah.
lot of gamers around the world, right? And we all like to be in this virtual world, and we're able to be whoever we want inside these virtual worlds, and we have fun in it as well. So I think that there is a lot of potential into it, especially when we start doing microtransactions into it as well, right? And these are things that these are existing things and future things that we are all looking at as well.
Yeah, imagine shopping online, but you are inside the internet, like, or
Exactly.
we're conducting this interview, and we are inside this internet. We are inside the virtual world, like, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. That would be very exciting indeed. And so, what do you think are the pain points in adopting this metaverse, or this future, or the blockchain technology as a whole in the region, in the ASEAN region, and globally, of course.
Yeah, so we've been tackling away at this problem for quite a while now, and where we've identified really is that I spoke a lot about education at first, right? But it's also because people are unaware, and also some of them are afraid of it, right? And we try to take away this factor where they're afraid of this technology, or because it's unknown to them, and so we
Yeah.
try and make it known. It's not only through education; it's through
Mm-hmm.
experiences, right? That's why we also have live minting NFT experiences at
Mm-hmm.
art festivals, right? So we try and spread this experience by making them not being afraid of it. It's like try it out. It comes at no harm to you, but try it out. And that's where we see is like with the experience that I mentioned just now. Claim an NFT, get a free cup of coffee, right? So these kind of things start making them think. Be like, hey, maybe now that I can do something with this. It's not as scary as I thought. And
Mm-hmm.
once we reduce all of these barriers, once we reduce all of this friction, then we can see a higher rate of adoption.
Yeah, okay. Of course, one of the key issues with this technology is, of course, regulation. So, that's always been the case, in anywhere, in any region. So, what do you think are the government interventions that are needed to accelerate the adoption of blockchain technology, the metaverse, the Web3, etc., etc.?
Yeah, so essentially, the regulators has always been concerned about AML, anti-money laundering, and counter-financing of terrorism,
Mm.
policies. I think those should be still be kept and upheld to be true. I think that there are a lot of good players in this industry, and they are also all willing to, some of them are willing to be regulated, and they should be. But at the same time, is that we do need government support to come into this sector. What do I mean by this is that what we've liked is as an adoption entity, yes, we do give out grants, but at the same time, it would be nice, when the government also gives out, certain incentives to actually bring down the cost of becoming a startup and to, accelerate the startup ecosystem, right? Because all of these things played holistically as a whole, together working in harmony, that's when we start seeing a lot of adoption, a lot of products coming out, right? what we've been looking for is use cases, and then what we want is encouragement of the utilization of these use cases. Now, the regulations that needs to be focused on is, making sure that it's not abused in any bad manner. It's also making sure that, all of these new innovations will not harm the retail community as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Frederick Fung. Do you have any? Now, I will give you the floor for your final words to our viewers and readers.
Yeah, hey, thank you very much for having me on. And I'm very excited that I had this opportunity to speak to everybody. We're going to really double down on our presence in Philippines, and especially with Draper Startup House in Philippines, where we have hold multiple workshops. Please come down to it, check us out. And making sure that, if you have any, pain points, any worries, do attend all of those things, and making sure that, you feel comfortable with it, because that's what the experience we're trying to bring in. TZ Apac, where we are an adoption entity, we're here to make sure that everybody are making sure that they are all brought up in a manner where we can build together and bring a lot of economic value everywhere.
So thank you very much, Mr. Frederick Fung. We've learned a lot from this discussion. We've learned that for the blockchain technology to reach mass adoption is, of course, the public has to experience the technology and to adopt it. And of course, for the government and the regulators to ensure that the technology is not abused by bad actors, and at the same time provide support so that the cost of startup in the usage of this technology should be lowered down, so that with the public and the country, the entire society will have the full benefit of what the technology can offer. So again, Mr. Frederick Fung, thank you very much for your time, and hope to see you around. Hope to see when you return to the Philippines, and we look forward to your expansion and your promise to double down your presence in the Philippines.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, and definitely I will basically find you guys when I'm over there.
And again, thank you very much, mga katribu, for tuning in. Watch us every Monday at 3:30 p.m. on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now on YouTube. Again, I am Komfie Manalo, and this is Kalingang Katribu, Usapang Business.